Your phone isn't buzzing, it never buzzed. But your brain already made you reach into your pocket like someone just texted you, called you, or declared war in the family group chat. This bizarre little glitch is called phantom vibration syndrome. And despite sounding like the title of a terrible horror movie, it's surprisingly common. In some studies, well over half of smartphone users report feeling their phone vibrate when absolutely nothing happened, which is honestly impressive. Humanity spent hundreds of thousands of years evolving to avoid predators, survive harsh environments, and invent civilization. Only to become emotionally manipulated by imaginary notifications. Here's what's happening. Your brain absolutely hates missing important information. Long before phones existed, noticing tiny changes in your surroundings could literally keep you alive. A rustle in the bushes might be dinner. Or it might be something trying to turn you into dinner. Either way, paying attention was a fantastic evolutionary investment. Fast forward to today. Instead of lions hiding in tall grass, you've got email alerts, social media likes, work messages, package deliveries. And that one friend who somehow only texts "hey" without ever explaining why. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference. It simply learns that tiny vibrations often predict something socially important. Eventually it gets enthusiastic. Think of your brain like an overexcited security guard who's had 12 cups of coffee. Did something move? No. I swear something moved. No. Check anyway, that tiny twitch of your jeans against your leg, phone. Your muscles shifting while walking, phone, wind, probably phone. The crazy part is that your brain isn't trying to fool you, it's predicting. Your nervous system constantly guesses what's happening before your conscious mind catches up. Usually those predictions are incredibly accurate. Otherwise you'd have to consciously calculate every footstep, every blink, every breath. You'd never get anything done. But prediction sometimes overshoots reality. It's the neurological equivalent of hearing your name across a noisy restaurant. Only to realize nobody actually called you. Modern technology has accidentally weaponized this system. The average person checks their phone dozens, sometimes hundreds of times a day. Every check strengthens the habit. Eventually, your brain starts expecting notifications the way dogs expect dinner after hearing a cupboard open. Only your brain doesn't even wait for the sound anymore, it invents it. Imagine living in a haunted house where the ghost is just your own nervous system desperately trying to be helpful. Even funnier. The more anxious you become, the worse phantom vibrations tend to get. Stress increases vigilance. Increased vigilance means more false alarms. More false alarms make you check your phone more. Checking your phone reinforces the expectation. Congratulations. You've accidentally trained your brain exactly the way people train pigeons. Except the pigeon has better screen time limits. Researchers believe this happens because your brain constantly combines tiny sensory signals together: pressure, fabric movement, body posture. Temperature, individually they mean nothing. Together they vaguely resemble phone vibration, close enough. Your brain fills in the missing details. Because waiting for certainty has never been evolution's favorite strategy. Better to mistake your pants for a notification than ignore an actual emergency. Unfortunately, evolution never anticipated Instagram. So the next time you're absolutely convinced your phone buzzed, take it out, look at the screen, nothing, no texts, no calls, no notifications. Just your nervous system, aggressively trying to earn Employee of the Month. Basically, your brain has become so obsessed with staying connected that it started sending fake messages from reality itself. Everyone talks about memories like they are stored in some giant mental filing cabinet. Open drawer, find memory, done, that's adorable. Because that's not remotely how memory works. Every single time you remember something, your brain edits it. Imagine opening an old family photo. Instead of simply looking at it, Photoshop automatically launches and starts making tiny adjustments. Maybe the colors become brighter. Maybe somebody smiles a little wider. Maybe an embarrassing detail quietly disappears. Save, close, congratulations. The edited version is now the new original. That's basically what your brain does. Psychologists call this memory reconsolidation. Every recall temporarily makes a memory unstable before storing it again. Which means every trip down memory lane is also construction work. You aren't replaying the past, you're rebuilding it. That sounds harmless until you realize eyewitness testimony is one of the least reliable forms of evidence humans regularly trust. People confidently remember things that never happened, entire conversations, specific colors, exact words, sometimes even entire people. Confidence and accuracy are surprisingly terrible roommates. Here's a weird example. Show someone a video of a car accident. Later ask how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other. People usually estimate higher speeds, change one word. How fast were the cars going when they contacted each other? Suddenly, the estimated speed drops. Nothing changed except the verb. Your brain quietly rewrote the scene. Language became editing software, even worse. Once fake details sneak into a memory, they often become permanent. Imagine telling the same story every Thanksgiving. Each year you exaggerate it just a little. Eventually, even you forget which parts were real. Your relatives probably noticed years ago, your brain didn't. Emotion plays an enormous role here. Highly emotional memories often feel crystal clear. People swear they remember every second, where they stood, what they wore, who was nearby. Except researchers repeatedly find that emotional certainty doesn't necessarily improve accuracy. It improves confidence. Those are not the same thing. Think about your childhood. You probably have vivid memories from being 4 or 5 years old. Maybe you remember standing in your kitchen, maybe someone was laughing. Maybe sunlight came through the window, or maybe you've simply seen family photos enough times that your brain stitched together a convincing movie. Good luck figuring out which. Brains love filling gaps, it hates incomplete puzzles. So when information goes missing, it improvises. Kind of like that one coworker who has absolutely no idea what's happening during meetings, but answers every question anyway. Most of the time nobody notices, even scarier. Other people's memories can infect yours. Tell the same story in a group often enough, and everyone's version slowly drifts toward a shared narrative. Details migrate between brains like they are swapping trading cards. Eventually nobody remembers the original. They remember the socially approved edition. History books aren't immune to this either. Neither are families, neither are friendships, neither are you. This doesn't mean memory is broken. It means memory was never designed to perfectly preserve reality. It was designed to help you survive. Accuracy was helpful, adaptability was essential. A flexible memory lets you learn, generalize, predict, and move forward. A perfectly literal memory would probably trap you in endless details, useful for security cameras, terrible for humans. So every nostalgic moment comes with a strange little secret. The version playing inside your head might be partly real, partly imagination, and partly whatever your brain thought would make the story flow better. Basically, your past has been quietly rewritten by the world's least trustworthy editor. Imagine walking into a crowded room with 100 conversations happening at once. Somebody laughs, someone drops a glass, music is playing. A chair scrapes across the floor. A baby starts crying somewhere in the distance, and somehow, you instantly notice the person across the room whispering your name. Pretty impressive, except there's a catch. Your brain isn't actually showing you reality. It's showing you the version of reality it thinks matters. Think of your brain less like a camera, and more like a very opinionated movie director. It decides what's important, cuts what isn't, zooms in on certain details, completely deletes others. Then hands your conscious mind the final edit and confidently says, "Yep, that's everything." It absolutely is not everything. At any given second, your senses are collecting an absurd amount of information, millions of bits, the pressure of your socks, the weight of your tongue, the sound of electricity humming through the walls, tiny changes in temperature, the smell of your own shampoo, the feeling of your heartbeat. You almost never notice any of it, because if you did, you'd lose your mind before breakfast. Your brain has one primary job: throw away information. Seriously. People think intelligence is about collecting more data. In reality, your brain survives by deleting almost all of it. This process is called selective attention, and it's terrifyingly effective. Here's a classic experiment. Participants watched a video of people passing basketballs back and forth. Their task was simple: count the passes. Easy enough. Halfway through the video, a person in a full gorilla suit casually walked across the screen, stopped, beat their chest, looked directly at the camera, then walked away. The truly creepy part: a huge percentage of viewers never saw the gorilla, not because they blinked, not because they looked away, because their brain decided the gorilla wasn't relevant to counting basketball passes. Imagine missing a literal gorilla because your brain was too committed to arithmetic. That's selective attention. Now imagine how many smaller things you miss every single day. Your keys sitting right in front of you. The ketchup bottle in the refrigerator. The email you've read 3 times but somehow skipped the date. Your own glasses, which are currently on your face. Your brain isn't broken, it's optimizing. Unfortunately, optimization sometimes makes you look incredibly stupid. This filtering system also explains why buying a new car suddenly makes you see that exact model everywhere. It isn't because the world magically bought matching vehicles overnight. Your brain simply added that model to its important list. Congratulations. Reality received a software update. Pregnant people often notice babies everywhere. Dog owners suddenly spot every dog. Someone who's afraid of spiders somehow detects the only spider in a warehouse. Meanwhile, everyone else walks right past it. Your attention shapes your world far more than your eyes do. That's also why anxiety can become such a vicious trap. If your brain decides danger is the priority, guess what suddenly appears everywhere? Potential danger: a weird cough, a stranger looking in your direction, a typo in a text message, silence after sending an email. Everything starts looking suspicious because your internal search engine changed one keyword. Instead of searching for opportunities, it's searching for threats. And search engines always return results. Here's the creepiest part: you don't experience what your brain filters out at all. It's not blurry. It's not hidden in the corner. It simply doesn't exist in your conscious experience. Entire chunks of reality vanish before you ever get to inspect them. That's less like wearing sunglasses, and more like living inside an aggressively edited documentary. Scientists sometimes call this inattentional blindness, but honestly, mental censorship sounds closer to how it feels. The world is constantly screaming information at you. Your brain quietly replies, "Nah," then deletes 99% of it. Which means every moment of your life is less like observing reality, and more like watching the highlight reel your nervous system thought you'd enjoy. Basically, your brain is running the world's most powerful spam filter. Unfortunately, it occasionally marks reality as junk mail. Here's an uncomfortable thought: sometimes you make a decision, and only afterward does your brain invent a reason for it. Not a better reason, not a deeper reason. A completely made-up explanation that sounds convincing enough for you to believe. Which means your brain is basically that friend who shows up 20 minutes late with an excuse so detailed it almost deserves an award. Researchers have been discovering this for decades, and the results are honestly unsettling. In one famous experiment, people were shown several identical pairs of stockings, exactly the same material, same color, same everything. Participants were asked to choose the best quality pair. Most confidently picked the stockings on the far right. Nothing unusual there, except they also gave elaborate explanations. This fabric feels softer. The stitching looks stronger. The weave is clearly better. No, none of it. Every pair was identical. Their brains had already made the choice, then quickly hired an imaginary lawyer to defend it. This phenomenon is known as confabulation. It doesn't necessarily mean lying. Lying requires knowing the truth. Confabulation is weirder. Your brain genuinely believes the explanation it just manufactured. Think about ordering food. Ever spent 10 minutes deciding between two meals, only to insist afterward that one was obviously the better choice? Maybe. Or maybe your brain flipped a subconscious coin long before you realized it, then wrote a press release. Scientists suspect much of human decision-making happens below conscious awareness. Your unconscious processes mountains of information before your conscious mind even joins the meeting. Consciousness often arrives fashionably late, pretends it was there the whole time, then starts taking credit. Imagine a company where employees do all the work overnight. Every morning the CEO walks in, reads the completed report, signs it, then announces, "Great work everyone, I made this happen." That's your conscious mind. To make matters even stranger, split-brain research revealed just how creative this internal storyteller can become. Some patients had the connection between the two brain hemispheres surgically separated to treat severe epilepsy. Researchers could secretly show information to one hemisphere without the other knowing. When one side of the brain caused a person to stand up, the speaking hemisphere, completely unaware of the real reason, would calmly invent one. "I wanted to stretch. I thought I saw something. I needed a drink." No hesitation, no uncertainty, instant explanation, completely fictional yet entirely believable. If your brain can confidently fabricate reasons under laboratory conditions, imagine what happens during everyday life. Why did you suddenly dislike someone? Why did that conversation feel awkward? Why did you buy that expensive gadget? Why are you convinced your favorite color has always been blue? Maybe your explanation is accurate, maybe it's close. Or maybe your unconscious made the decision first, and your conscious mind has been improvising ever since. This also explains why arguing with people can feel impossible. Changing someone's opinion isn't just changing an idea. You're asking their internal narrator to admit it wrote the wrong script. Brains hate doing that. Consistency feels safe. Contradictions feel threatening. So instead of changing the story, the narrator simply rewrites the facts. It's oddly elegant and mildly horrifying. Because every day, your brain quietly transforms mysterious unconscious processes into neat little stories that feel perfectly logical. Those stories become your identity, your preferences, your memories, your beliefs, and most of the time, you never realize the narrator showed up after the plot had already happened. Basically, your brain is the world's most confident documentary filmmaker, specializing almost exclusively in historical fiction.